is simply pathetic. There's just no way around this. Their record says so. In the era since James Dolan has taken over and Jeff Van Gundy walked away 19 games into the 2001-2000 season when they were 10-9 under his stewardship, the New York Knicks have won one playoff series in 19 years. One. The one playoff series they won, the one division crown that they won, was when Mike Woodson, former head coach of the New York Knicks, former head coach for the Atlanta Hawks, former assistant coach with the Los Angeles Clippers, took the New York Knicks to the Eastern Conference semifinals in 2013. They had won 54 games for the 2012-2013 season. They won in the first round, and they advanced and lost in 6 games to the Indiana Pacers. Ever since that time, there have been 6 seasons completely, 6 complete seasons that have passed. The New York Knicks have not only missed the playoffs, they have not even recorded a winning record. A matter of fact, their most wins was the very next season that Mike Woodson coached when they were 37-45, when Tyson Chandler was going through a lot of things and his mother was ill and he was never practicing with the team. He would just meet them for the games, and James Dolan would allow him to use the jet to go back and forth to see his mom in between games and stuff like that. And James Dolan is known for being absolutely fantastic to the people who work for him, at least the ones he likes. After that 37-win season, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons that have passed. The New York Knicks have 2 17-win seasons, 1 29-win season, another 31-win season, another 32-win season. Meaning, ladies and gentlemen, they have lost a minimum of 50 games out of 82 the last 5 years. And so it is with that in mind that we take into consideration this 4-19 start by David Fizdale, who was ultimately fired Friday by the New York Knicks. I want to preface my comments by saying that Steve Mills and Scott Perry at the time, the president of basketball operations and general manager, emphatically stated that when they held that impromptu press conference after a loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers at Madison Square Garden over a month ago, their intent was not to fire David Fizdale. But according to numerous sources, David Fizdale did not know they were going to have that press conference before he addressed the media after the loss, by the way. He had no clue they were having that press conference. He was literally in the coach's office getting ready to go and address the media when Steve Mills and Scott Perry decided to have that press conference. Ultimately, it was a foregone conclusion in my estimation. He was gone. I came on the air the next day and I told y'all, there's no way in hell he's lasting. He'll be fired before Christmas. That's exactly what I said. Because there's no way in hell that you have an impromptu press conference without informing the coach just to tell the media contingent and the audience and Knicks lovers out there that you're not pleased with the job that's being done. And the coach doesn't know about it. You can't recover from that. Now, when David Fizdale was fired, remember they had lost by 44 points to the Greek Freak in Milwaukee. And then they came home after going to Milwaukee and losing in that fashion. They came home. And when they came home to New York, they lost by 37 to the Denver Nuggets. And the Knicks privately would tell people, David Fizdale wanted out. He wanted to be fired. He wanted out. This was a mess. This was a situation he didn't sign on for. He didn't want to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, I heard the same thing too, so I don't think they're lying. But that's not the point. The point is the Knicks are a disaster. The point is the Knicks are beyond being a moribund franchise. The point is their level of pathetic tendencies have diminished and dissipated to such alarming fashions. You can't find scuba divers who can find the depths of their despair, their ineptitude, their malfeasance, their disgust, scuba divers couldn't find it. We could get folks whose job was to find the Titanic, and they'd have a better shot at finding gold in the Titanic than they'd find in the last time the Knicks were relevant. I mean, this is just garbage. Just straight garbage. Now I'm going to try to be cool. Because you see, if there is not a conflict of interest, because there is none, I would tell you there is a conflict of heart. I know what kind of reputation Scott Perry, the general manager, has had in the National Basketball Association. I'm here to tell y'all right now, he's universally respected. Knows talent, knows the NBA game, and is respected and liked by an awful lot of people, if not everybody, in NBA circles. So when it comes to Scott Perry, what most NBA folks would tell you is that he's been contaminated by the virus that is named Dolan. And because of that, that's why he finds himself in this situation. My point is, there's a conflict of heart there because I don't want to say that, but it appears to be true. But the biggest conflict of heart that I have is for Steve Mills. Because I genuinely root for this brother. He's a good man. And he is somebody that I wish had a better record. But the reality is clear. Steve Mills has been associated with Madison Square Garden since near the time of the beginning of the new millennium. He's the only one. Everybody else is gone. Lenny Wilkens is gone. Larry Brown is gone. Isaiah Thomas is gone. Mike D'Antoni is gone. Donnie Walsh is gone. Mike Woodson is gone. Derek Fisher is gone. Kurt Rambis, not that he should have ever been there, is gone. Jeff Hornacek is gone. And now David Fizdale is gone. Phil Jackson is gone. There's been one man standing with James Dolan all of this time. Whether it's on the business side, it's the president of Madison Square Garden. Now it's the president of the basketball operations, Steve Mills. I love the guy personally. But I'm not doing my job if I sit here and I talk about everybody else and I don't mention him. Since you are the president of the basketball operations. Since someone led James Dolan to believe that you was going to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Since that did not happen and your retort was Julius Randle and Elfrid Payton and Marcus Morris. A slew of power forwards. I understand the thinking and belief. Get some power forwards. You're going to need a multitude of guys to play on your front line. Guess what? You need veterans around that can help these young guys teach them how to play. Yet Kevin Knox is riding the bench practically, and R.J. Barrett, I'm worried about his health mentally because he's a winner, and now he's in this depressing situation. This is bad. This is bad. I said it to y'all before, and I'll say it again. I believe there's one man for this job. From what I'm being told, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, to be quite honest with you, because I have not asked, but I've heard Jason Kidd may be here. After all, the next marquee free agent scheduled to be available is the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. If you recall, Jason Kidd used to be the coach in Milwaukee with the Bucks before he was unceremoniously dismissed, much to the chagrin of the Greek Freak, who did not want to lose him. Maybe the Knicks are believing they hired Jason Kidd, they can get him. That remains to be seen. I will tell you emphatically, I will say this again, there's one man for this job. And the only man for this job, in my estimation, is Mark Jackson. And the reason why I firmly believe that is because I'm not talking about basketball. I think Mark Jackson could coach, and I think he knows what he's doing, and I think he could do a good job so long as he's not as dogged about picking his entire staff. You got to listen to somebody when they talk about adding help on your bench. But here is the reason I firmly believe it's not Jeff Van Gundy because of Jeff Van Gundy's history with James Dolan. And Dolan would inevitably get in the way. Here's the reason I think it's Mark Jackson. Because when he opens his mouth, you'll know he's not lying to you. You'll know he means what he says. You know he'll be big on accountability. And more importantly than that, he would have the trust and the patience of New Yorkers because he's one of us. Starred in high school in New York. Starred at St. John's University. Came into the NBA as a rookie for the New York Knicks and was Rookie of the Year. His New York roots are undeniable. And the coach is the voice of the franchise that has to speak to the media every day. And that voice that's speaking into the microphone is the kind of voice that would get you to allow Steve Mills and Scott Perry, assuming they're still around, to operate without the attention on them like that. And more importantly, you don't have to worry about James Dolan. Because if he gets in Mark Jackson's way, he knows what that will mean. New York fans will really give up on him then. I said when David Fizdale was hiring, as much as I liked him, he should have been number 2 choice. The first choice should have been Mark Jackson. I wasn't talking about coaching. I was talking about nonsense like this. Preventing it from happening. Having a coach who's the face of the franchise that could win over the public with the team's effort. And they get to concentrate on basketball instead of the cesspool that is Madison Square Garden. I said it before. I'll say it again. Maybe someday the Knicks will listen. Hell, come to me and make me president of basketball operations and put Steve Mills and them on the business side if you have to. I'll turn the job down because you can't afford me now. But at least it showed good faith. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. 888-SAY-ESPN. Back with more of the Stephen A. Smith Show in a minute. By the way, worried about finding the perfect gift this holiday? We've got you covered because when you give the gift of Peloton, you're giving a gift they're guaranteed to love. It's the gift of entertaining and motivating classes that keep them coming back for more again and again. When you give a Peloton, you give the gift of convenience with efficient, high-intensity cardio workouts right at home all year long. And one membership includes